Hello, I am Pramod Kumar. Today our subject is accountancy. Our chapter is accounting for share capital, and we have divided this chapter in 6 parts. 5 parts we have already covered. Today we are covering part 6 of 6. Then this chapter will be complete. In this part we will discuss reissue of forfeited shares. Right? Reissue. Directors of a company can take a decision to cancel or reissue forfeited shares. Forfeiture of shares we have already discussed in the previous videos. Directors of a company can take a decision to cancel or reissue forfeited shares, right? So, there are a few conditions which need to be taken care of while considering reissue of forfeited shares, right? First is discount allowed cannot be more than amount received on those shares which the company is considering to reissue, right? Discount allowed cannot be more than the amount received on those shares, those forfeited shares. Right? Discount allowed cannot be more than the amount received on those forfeited shares which the company is considering to reissue. Right? It must be very clear. Suppose a company had issued 1000 shares at rupees 10 per share, right? And it was like this: application stage 2, allotment 3, share first call 2, share second and final call 3, right? So, suppose the company received up to this and did not receive this. So, the company received 23527, 7 rupees. It did not receive 3 rupees per share. It means the company received 7 rupees per share. So, 1000 into 7 is equal to 7000. Suppose, to make it simple, a company issued 1000 shares at rupees 10 per share, and it was to be paid like this: at application 2, at allotment 3, share first call 2, share second and final call 3, so 10 rupees. Sorry. So let us discuss that the company received at application, at allotment, first call, but it didn't receive second and final call amount on all the shares. So the company received 23527, 1000 into 7, 7000 rupees, right? And finally the company takes a decision to forfeit all these shares, right? All these 1000 shares have been forfeited. which were issued at 10 rupees. Now the company is thinking of reissuing of shares, right? So while reissuing these 1000 shares, the company cannot go for discount of an amount more than 7,000 rupees, because this is the amount that the company has received on account of these 1000 shares, 2 rupees, 3 rupees, 2 rupees, 7 rupees. So discount allowed cannot be more than amount received on those forfeited shares which the company is now considering to reissue, right? That's very clear. The discount can be a maximum of the money received on those forfeited shares which the company is now considering to reissue, right? Then it says the company may reissue forfeited shares at par, at premium, or at discount. At par, we don't have any issue. At premium, no issue. At discount, one limitation is there, that the discount amount allowed cannot be more than the amount which was received on those forfeited shares which the company is now considering to reissue, right? Then, and the discount allowed on reissue of shares, forfeited shares, should be debited to share forfeiture account. The discount allowed on the reissue of forfeited shares should be debited to share forfeiture account, right? And the balance, if any, left in the share forfeiture account will represent what? It will represent the forfeited amount in respect of those shares which have not been reissued till now, right? After this is done, what is done? See, the amount discount allowed on reissue of forfeited shares should be debited to the share forfeiture account. If after that some amount is left in the share forfeiture account, what does it represent? It represents amount received on those forfeited shares which are yet to be reissued, right? Yet to be reissued. And what will go to the capital reserve account? Whatever excess is left pertaining to the reissued shares, earlier forfeited, now reissued shares, whatever amount remains, that will go to the capital reserve account. You can take it like this: the balance, if any, balance in share forfeiture account, if any, left in the share forfeiture account relating to reissued shares should be treated as capital profit and transferred to capital reserve account, right? For example, when a company forfeits 200 shares or which 10 each, let us go to a live example. Right? When a company goes for forfeiture of 200 shares, at rupees 10 each, right? On which rupees 600 had been received, right? What was received? Right? 200 shares were issued at rupees 10 each, but the amount received total was 600 rupees. Now what happens? 600 had been received, it can allow a maximum discount of rupees 600 at the time of reissue of shares, right? In respect of these 200 shares. If all these 200 shares are being reissued, the maximum amount that can be allowed is 600 discount. If only 100 shares are being reissued, then pro rata 300 will be a maximum discount of 300 can be permitted, right? So it says when a company forfeits 200 shares of rupees 10 each on which 600 had been received, it can allow a maximum discount of rupees 600 on their reissue. On their reissue means reissue of 200 shares. Suppose out of these 200 shares only 100 are being reissued, half of this, then only maximum half of this can be considered for discount on the reissue. If only 1/4 of this number is being reissued, 50 out of 200, then only 1/4 of this amount can be considered for discount on the reissue of those 50 shares, 150 rupees. Assuming that the company reissued these shares for rupees 1800, right? Right? Considering that the company is going for reissue of these shares for 1800 as fully paid. 1800. What it was here? 2000. 200 into 10. But now the company is going for fully paid up 1800. So what is the shortfall? 200. So what will be the journal entry? You will debit bank account by 1800 because you will receive 1800 in the bank account. The shares are being issued fully paid at 1800 rupees. So you can very well say 9 rupees per share, right? And what will be the another account which will be debited? We have already discussed. Another account that will be debited is share forfeiture account, and what will be amount? 200, right? And where will it go? It will go to share capital account, right? So once again, a company issued 200 shares at rupees 10 nominal value, issue price, par value, whatever, 10, and it received a total of 600 rupees. So 200 into 10 is 2000 rupees, but it received total of 600 rupees. So if the company is going for reissue of all these shares, the company can offer a maximum discount of up to rupees 600, not more than that, right? If it is going for reissue of 100 shares, it can go for maximum discount of 300 rupees. If it is going for reissue of 50 shares, it can go for maximum discount of 150 rupees. So here the company is going for reissue of all these shares fully paid for 1800 rupees. So in the bank account, what do we get? 1800. At this time 200 shares are being issued fully paid up at 1800. It means per share is 9 rupees. So bank account will be debited by 1800, and we have already discussed share forfeiture account will be debited by 200 and share capital account will be credited by 2000, right? Suppose here we had only 150 rupees. The company had received not 600, only 150 rupees. So the maximum can be, the company can allow maximum of 150 rupees of discount on the issue of these shares, right? Okay, share forfeiture account and to share capital account. Then after doing this, how much is left in the share forfeiture account? After this, how much is the balance left in share forfeiture account? Since the company had received a total amount of 600, it had gone to the share forfeiture account, and now that 200 rupees have been used, share forfeiture account balance remains 400. So where will that balance go? Share forfeiture account, debit, how much? 400. And what will you credit? Where will it go? It will go to capital reserve, which we had discussed. Right? Amount in excess of the discount allowed pertaining to those forfeited shares which are being reissued will go to capital reserve account, as it is a capital profit, right? Another important point to be noted in this context is that the capital profit arises only in respect of the forfeited shares reissued. If in the share forfeiture account 1000 rupees balance is there, so only that much amount can be considered as share capital reserve account, capital profit account, which pertains to those shares, those forfeited shares which are being reissued, not any amount beyond that, right? Capital profit arises only in respect of the forfeited shares reissued. So this has arisen only in respect of those forfeited shares reissued. And which are those forfeited shares reissued? 200. Here the company fully it is reissuing all that. Hence, when a part of the forfeited shares are reissued, suppose not 200, 100 are reissued, then what happens? When 200 are issued, then here we had 600, right? So, out of 200, when only 100 are being reissued, so capital reserve account will get only 200 rupees. Only in respect of those forfeited shares which are reissued. It's very clear. Hence, when a part of the forfeited shares are reissued, the whole balance of share forfeiture account cannot be transferred to capital reserve account, not the whole balance. In such a situation, it is only the proportionate amount of balance that relates to the forfeited shares reissued which should be transferred to capital reserve account. In this case, we saw that the entire 200 shares are being reissued. So here 200 rupees have been used, 400 is left. So this entire 400 is going to the capital reserve account. But suppose everything remains the same, in lieu of 200, 100 shares are being reissued. So only 200 rupees will be transferred to the capital reserve account, proportional, ensuring that the remaining balance in share forfeiture account is proportionate to the amount forfeited on shares not yet reissued. If 100 have been reissued, it means 100 have not been reissued. So the remaining 300 here will show, what will it show? The remaining 300 will show that it represents in respect of those forfeited shares which are yet to be reissued, not yet reissued, right? So now we will go to the last item, and that is buyback of shares. When a company purchases its own shares, purchases back its own shares, buy back, it buys back. It is called buyback of shares. Section 68 of the Companies Act 2013 provides that a company can buy its own shares from either of the following sources. There are four major sources. Existing equity shareholders on a proportionate basis. It cannot happen that a company buys back shares from a few large equity shareholders. It needs to be buyback from shareholders on a proportionate basis. Second is from buyback from open market. Third is odd lot shareholders. And fourth is the company can buy back shares from its own employees. Shares are issued to employees, the company is buying back from the employees. The company can buy back its own shares either from the free reserves of the company, or securities premium account balances, or from the proceeds of any shares or other specified securities, right? The company can utilize money for buying back shares. When the company buys back, the company has to pay. So the company can utilize its free reserves or balances lying in securities premium account, or proceeds of any shares or other specified securities. In case shares are bought back with the help of money in free reserves, then the company needs to credit share redemption, capital redemption reserve account, by which amount? By the amount equal to the nominal value of those shares. Suppose nominal value was 100 and the company is buying back 1 lakh shares and free reserves are being used for this. Then the company needs to credit 1 crore rupees to the capital redemption reserve account, right? You should understand it very clearly. In case the company is buying back shares out of free reserves by utilizing the money lying in free reserves, then the company needs to credit capital redemption reserve account, by which amount? Number of shares into nominal value of the shares, right? The following procedures have been laid down for buyback of shares which the companies need to follow, adhere to. First, the articles of association must authorize the company for the buyback of shares. If it is not mentioned in company's articles of association, the company cannot go for buyback of shares. Second is, a special resolution must be passed in the company's annual general body meeting, AGM. A special resolution must be passed in company's annual general body meeting, right? Third is, the amount of buyback of shares So, a special resolution in the annual general body meeting needs to be passed for buyback of shares. And third is, the amount of buyback of shares in any financial year should not exceed 25% of the paid up capital and free reserves. Paid up capital and free reserves should not exceed 25%. The debt equity ratio should not be more than 2:1. The debt equity ratio should not be more than 2:1 after the buyback. All the shares of the buyback should be fully paid up by the company. The buyback of the shares should be completed within 12 months. Within 12 months, there is a time frame from the date of passing of the special resolution. the company should file a solvency declaration with the registrar and Securities and Exchange Board of India, which must be signed by at least 2 directors of the company, right? So we have discussed 2 things: reissue of forfeited shares and buyback of shares, right? I hope you found it easy to understand. In case of any difficulty, you may please approach me on my email ID, which will be there at the thumbnail to the video. And with this, we complete this chapter, accounting for share capital. Okay. Thank you very much.